mercy, the friend of the poor and Lord Master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us, give us the shade of your lotus feet. May your fame be spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter in the lotus feet. Patita Pavana Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai!
I don't have cactus. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandanam Bhajajannaranjanam Yashodanandanam Bhajajannaranjanam Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandanam Bhajajannaranjanam Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandanam Bhajajannaranjanam Yashodanandanam Bhajajannaranjanam Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jayon Vishnu Pada Paramahansa Vijakacharya Stutta Shata Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace Bhai Charana Vindam Bhakti Vedantam Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki. Srila Prabhupada Ji Ki. Maha Krishna Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Go Premanande. All Gars Assembly devotees. All Gars Assembly devotees. All Gars Assembly devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Parisha Bhadarishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtiki Shringvatang Swakatah Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Ridantastohya Bhadrani Vidunod Suritatam Krishna Swadhamopagati Dharma Gyanadibisaha Kalonasta Drishamesha Puranarko Anudotitaha Maha Krishna Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, Verse 75. Chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva. This is the chapter title. Okay, repeat after me. Shreyasam Iha Sarvesham Shreyasam Iha Sarvesham Shreyasam Iha Sarvesham Jnanam Nishreyasam Param Jnanam Nishreyasam Param Jnanam Nishreyasam Param Sukham Tarati Dushparam Sukham Tarati Dushparam Sukham Tarati Dushparam Jnananar Vyasanarnavam Jnananar Vyasanarnavam Jnananar Vyasanarnavam Shreyasamiha Sarvesham Jnananushreyasam Param Sukham Tarati Dushparam Jnananar Vyasanarnavam Shreyasamiha Sarvesham Jnananushreyasam Param Sukham Tarati Dushparam Jnananar Vyasanarnavam. Devotees. Shreyasamiha Sarvesham Jnanam Nishreyasam Param Sukham Tarati Dushparam Jnananar Vyasanarnavam
Shreyasamiha
Shreyasamiha Sarvesham
Jnanam Nishreyasam Param
Jnananarshaya Samparam Sukham Tarati Dushparam Jnananarvyasananavam
Shreyasamiha sarvesham
Shreyasamiha Sarvesham
Jnanam nihashriyesham Jnanam nihashriyesham
Nushreyasam Param
Sukham tarati pushparam
Sukham Tarati Dushparam
Jnanano vyasananavam
Matajis
Shreyasamiha sarvesham
Shreyasamiha Sarvesham
Jnanam nishreyasam param
Jnanam Nushreyasam Param
Sukham tarati dushparam
Sukham Tarati Dushparam Jnananarvyasananavam
Shreyasamiha sarvesham
Shreyasamiha Sarvesham
Jnanam nishreyasam param
Jnanam Nushreyasam Param
Sukham tarati dushparam
Sukham Tarati Dushparam
Jnanavyasananavam
Jnananarvyasananavam. Word by word, Shreyasam of all benedictions. Iha, in this word, Sarvesham of every person. Jnanam, knowledge. The Shreyasam, the supreme benefit. Parang, transcendental. Sukham, happiness. Tarati, crossover. Dushparang, insurmountable. Insurmountable. Okay. Jnana, knowledge. Nahu, boat. Vyasana, danger. Arnavam, the ocean. Okay. They translate from the verse from English to Sanskrit to English. It's like this. In this material world, there are different types of achievement, but of all of them, the achievement of knowledge is considered to be the highest because of one can cross the ocean of innocence only on the boat of knowledge. Otherwise, the ocean is impassable. Okay, let's go repeat together. In this material world, there are different types of achievement. But of all them, the achievement of knowledge is considered to be the highest. Because one can cross the ocean of nescience. Only on the boat of knowledge. Otherwise, the ocean is impassable. Today is not Sunday. Purport by His Divine Grace Bhai Chanavinda Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Actually, everyone is suffering within this material world due to ignorance. Every day we see that a person without knowledge commits some criminal act and is later arrested and punished, despite the fact that they actually may not have been conscious of his sinful activity. Yeah. Sometimes and Christians says that the duality is the good and bad, well and bad, good and evil, yes, and the evil is the not presence of good. In true, according to Vedas, the real duality, the first duality is ignorance and knowledge. If you want to have knowledge, don't commit sinful activities. Don't stay in shadows, in darkness. Such ignorance prevails throughout the world. People do not consider how they are risking their lives in an attempt to have illicit sex life, kill animals to satisfy their tongue, enjoy intoxication, and gamble. It is very regrettable that the leaders of the world do not know of the effects of these sinful activities. They are instead taking things very easily and are succeeding in making the ocean of nescience wider and wider. Opposed to such ignorance, full knowledge is the greatest achievement within this material world. We can practically see that one who has sufficient knowledge is saved from many dangerous pitfalls in life. As stated in Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 verse 19, Bahunan Jamanamante Gyanavam Mam Prapadyate. When one actually becomes wise, what is the symptom? He surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudhurlabhaha. Such a great soul is very rarely to be found. This Krishna consciousness movement is determined to open wide the eyes of the so-called leaders, who are full of ignorance, and thus save them from the many pitfalls and dangerous conditions of life. The greatest dangers is the danger of getting a body lower, the animal body, than that a human being. It was with great difficulty that we attained this human form of life, just to take advantage of this body and reestablish our relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda. Lord Shiva advises, however, that those who take advantage of his prayers will very soon become devotees of Lord Vasudeva, and thus will be able to cross the ocean of nescience and make life perfect. Om Gyanantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurnamiritanjana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Staptanyana Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadat Svapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dishtatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Tatsat. Shreyasam miha sarvesham jnana shreyasam padam sukantarati dushpadam jnananar vyasanarnavam. In this material world, there are different types of achievement, but of all of them, the achievement of knowledge is considered to be the highest, because one can cross the ocean of nescience only on the boat of knowledge. Otherwise, the ocean is impassable. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Good morning to everyone. Thanks for coming to Srimad Bhagavatam class. This verse caused the impression that is a glorification of Jnana. Yes? Shreyasam, Risarvesham, Jnanan, Jnananar, the boat of knowledge. Yes, it's a glorification to Jnana. But one point to us reflect is what kind of knowledge, what kind of jnana explains this verse. This is a very important point. Today is disappearance day, yes, Tirubhava of Lochana Das Thakur. Lochana Das Thakur was a great Gaudiya Vaishnava poet. He came after 30 years of Lord Chaitanya, and many songs that we chanted he wrote, and especially he wrote the Chaitanya Mangal. We have 3 authorized biographies of Lord Chaitanya. Chaitanya Bhagavata from Vrindavan Das Thakur, Chaitanya Charitamrita from Shandas Kaviraj, and Chaitanya Mangal from Lochana Das Thakur. This biography, especially in the end portion, the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya enter in Vrindavan. Oh, he give a detailed description about Lord Chaitanya in different places, pilgrimage places in Vrindavan. It's so sweet, so sweet. This is very nice, very interesting Lord Chaitanya biography. Okay, I will start with a translation from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur from this verse 75. Quote, "Of all auspicious eatings in this world, knowledge is supremely auspicious. It is the supreme bliss. The boat of knowledge crosses the ocean of samsara, which is hard to cross." It's very similar. We can start by recapitulating some earlier verses. In verse 71, this is the verse is official end of the Rudra Gita. Thank you. I will wake up. Very nice. Shiva officially declares the end of the Rudra Gita. Quote, "My dear princess, in the form of a prayer, I have delineated the yoga system of chanting the holy name." This assertive chanting the holy name, the yoga system of the holy, was given by Prabhupada. Prabhupada is very directly to not confuse, to not will beware the Western devotees. In verse 72, Lord Shiva explained how the song was received and passed through the greatest of all scientific methods within the universe. What is the more greatest method, scientific method in this universe? Parampara. Parampara is the most great scientific method of spread knowledge, for pass knowledge. Evam paramparam pratam imam rajai viduhu. Open quote, verse 72. This prayer was first spoken to us by Lord Brahma, the master of all creators. The creators, headed by Bhrigu Muni, were instructed in these prayers because they wanted to create. Yesterday verse 74, which contains the Phala Shruti. What is Phala Shruti?
The benefit one gets when reciting this prayer.
Yes, very nice. Literally, Phala means fruit, and Shruti, the verse, yes, for hear these stotras. Mentions that a devotee, the Lord, who recites this stotra, these prayers attain greatest perfection in life without delay. Very interesting. Very nice fruit. Yes? Not as like durian, yes? At least the smell of durian. So, in this verse 74, we have the line Achira Shreya Apnoti. What means Shreya? The best. Okay, very good. With the central word Shreya. What means Shreya? Shreya means that he is good, yes, the interesting. But what is opposed of Shreya? But, everybody is so intelligent. Yeah. Okay, I need to take care. In today's verse 75, again repeats and explains this concept. Yes, first line, Shreya San Iha Sarveshan, that came from the previous verse. In this material world, there are different types of achievement, or the word Shreya San translated as of all benedictions, or the greatest of all blessings. So I think a good start to analyzing this verse within the context of this chapter would betroth the word Shreya. Shreya is the opposite of prayer. Shreya means ultimate happiness, while prayer can be translated as the immediate happiness of sense gratification. Yes. Shreya is the real happiness, and the prayer is the immediately taken by the sense. Maya. As Srila Prabhupada said, open quote, "It is not a fashion. It should be very serious. One who is very much eager to understand the transcendental knowledge, Shreya Uttamam, Jigyasu Shreya, Shreya and prayer. There are two kinds of pets. Prayer means immediate satisfaction or sense gratification, and prayer means spiritual happiness. Shreya. Shreya means spiritual happiness. Just like children, they are interested with playing. That is prayer. Whereas the elderly person, they are interested to give education. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 1, verse 4 to 39. Class Prabhupada in December 19 from 1970 in Surat. Just unlike Srimad Bhagavatam, we have the narrow, the question in the form of a pillar, the most important question. Tatra tatra jasayushman bhavata yad vinishchitan pumsam ekantata shreyas pumsam ekantata shreyas tanna shansitum arhasi. This is the conversation inaugurated, the first conversation in Srimad Bhagavatam, the conversation between Sutta Goswami and Shaunaka and the sadhus of Naimisharanya, the rishis of Naimisharanya. And these sadhus put 10 questions, if I'm not wrong, to Shaunaka Rishi, and basically these questions are the development of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Quote, please, therefore, being blessed with many years, explains to us in an easily understandable way, for Kali Yuga, yes, what you have ascertained to be the absolute and ultimate good for the people in general. Yes? Pumsam ekantata shreyas. Ekantata, the number one of shreyas, the most important shreyas, number one, for Pumsam, for the human beings. In the material world, for souls conditioned by matter, Prakriti, who use the senses and reason that are hidden. Such Shreya ends up becoming relative. Yes, this is very common in academic, in the scientific knowledge. In science, it says that the knowledge is relative. Don't exist absolute truth. Yes, all things is relative. But the Srimad Bhagavatam gives a wonderful description about this. Heard. Jnana mekam parachinair indrair brahmanir gunam avabhati artarupena brantya shabdadi dharmina. Quote, those who are averse, that don't like to the transcendental, that don't like of Brahman, realize the supreme absolute truth differently through speculative sense perception. And therefore, because of mistaken speculation, everything appears to them to be relative. This is Kapila Muni, Canto 3, Chapter 32, verse 28. Yes? The point is to capture, to understand the absolute, the Brahman, with the senses and the reason. This is impossible, because the absolute truth, the Brahman, is achintya, inconceivable for the senses and the reason. And when you try capture, understand the Brahman with the senses and reason, what happens? All things is relative. Yes. For understanding the absolute truth, for understanding the Brahman, is another method. Yes, the method is the Bhakti Yoga. Purify the senses and the reasons, and the absolute truth reveal to the devotee. Reveal himself to the devotee. As Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains this verse in his commentaries, what is called the one knowledge or non-duality, the absolute, or Brahman, falsely appears by error of the jiva, yes, the mistake of jiva, yes, four kinds of imperfection, the Vedic epistemology, to be objects endowed with qualities by the senses which are turned towards material enjoyment, simulated by Maya Shakti, by Maya. Precisely because of the knowledge filtered through the senses and reason, the conditioned soul sees is a branched or relative way, with many aims based on prayer alone. This is open quote from Srimad Bhagavatam. O beloved child of the Kurus, Bhagavad Gita, sorry. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. Yes. While the intelligence of those on the path of bhakti single-mindedly sees one goal, one point. Yes. The true Shreya, quote, those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their end is one. Yes, this is the difference between karmas and bhaktas and yogis. Yogis have one point, is a focus, because another things, another points, not is relevant, not is important, doesn't matter. But for the karma, stopped without knowledge, he see, yes, many different kinds, many different achievements. Yes, I need this, I need this, I need this, I do this. If I not hard work like as I will starve, and yes, and all these parts. But the devotees understand that it is absolute truth that provide all things. And because this is totally focused, this is unique point that really have matter. To illustrate this point, we have the example of the bird. Who remember the example of the bird? From
the Bhagavad Gita?
No. Yeah. In Bhagavad Gita, we have an example from the sparrow. Very nice. Yes, the little sparrow, and Garuda helped the sparrow. No, from Mahabharata. Yes. I shame it for you. Okay, I will read. This is a very interesting pastime. One day, Drona decided to test his students' abilities. He placed an artificial bird high in a tree. Calling together all the princes, he said to each of them, "Take your bows and aim for the bird's eye. One by one I shall call you forward to shoot." The first to be called was Yudhishthira Maharaj. When he had placed an arrow on his bow and aimed, Drona said, "O prince, tell me what you see." Yudhishthira replied that he saw his brothers, Drona, the tree, and the bird. Drona asked him again and again what he saw, and each time he received the same reply. Drona then reproached him and told him to stand down without firing his arrow. "You will not be able to hit the mark," he said with annoyance. Duryodhana was the next to be called. Yes, very inflated, very, very proud. When he was ready to fire, Drona asked him the same question. The prince replied as Yudhishthira had replied, and again Drona told him to stand down. One by one, the princes were called and each responded to Drona similarly and was not allowed to shoot at the bird. Finally, Arjuna was called. When he was prepared to shoot and was standing with his bow drawn in a semicircle, Drona said, "Tell me what you see. Can you see myself, your brothers, and the tree?" Drona asked to Arjuna. Arjuna replied, "I see only the bird. I cannot see you or my brothers, nor the tree." Drona was pleased. He waited a moment and asked, "If you see the bird, then please describe it to me." Arjuna responded, "I see only the bird's head. I cannot see its body." Drona felt his hair stand on end with delight. He said, "Shoot." Arjuna released his arrow and it struck the wooden bird and eye, sending it tumbling to the ground. With tears of joy, Drona embraced his disciple as Duryodhana and his brothers looked on in anger. Yes? I remember a movie also that explains if we have a walk, yes, we have a way to cross. Don't matter if we have sun, if we have wind, if we have cold, if we have rain. Doesn't matter what happens. The objective is cross the way. And this is the intelligence of the bhakti. Only one purpose, Krishna. The bhakta, not deviation, don't pay attention for another achievements. At the first, the verse seems to be okay. It's another topic. Now I will introduce the topic of jnana. That is a main point in the verse. At the first seems to be a glorification of jnana or knowledge, as the verse says in this material world. There are different types of achievement, but of all of them, the achievement of knowledge is considered to be the highest. Or when Krishna speaks in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in this world there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the nature, fruit of all mysticism. Yeah? Remember the 3rd verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, yes? The shuka, the parrot, and the grape fruit. And one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 38. This is the problematic, yes, the question. Due to the deep scholarships contained in the Vedas and the fact that a single concept is used in different ways depending on the context of the work, does all knowledge or jnana express the same semantic in all areas, in all moments in the Vedas? The concept of jnana is the same in Bhagavad Gita, in the Upanishads? No. This is the in Western philosophy, the concepts are very stank, are very fixed. But in Vedas, one concept can be very elastic and depends too much of the context. In what portion of the Vedas this concept was applied, was described. A good start to understand this intricate discussion is to divide the world in two. How? We can divide jnana and vijnana in two parts, namely jnana and vijnana. Open Prabhupada quote, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 41, purport. Jnana refers to knowledge of self as distinguished from non-self, Or in other words, knowledge that the spiritual soul is not the body. This is classic definition of jnana in Upanishads and Vedanta Sutra. In jnana portion of the Vedas. Vijnana refers to specific knowledge of the spirit soul's constitutional position and his relationship to the Supreme Soul. Okay? Jnana means I am spiritual soul, different from matter. Vijnana means if I am spiritual soul, if I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, what the Brahman, what I do, what the Jiva do? What the Jiva do? Bhakti Yoga. Another understanding can be Jnana is theoretical knowledge and Vijnana is applicable, yes, in the practical knowledge. I will speak this after. Thus, we can understand the classical concept of jnana or knowledge as that emphasized in the Jnani or Jnana-kanda portion of the Vedas, known as the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutra, which establishes the difference, the rational discrimination, viveka, between matter and spirit, Purusha and Prakriti, yes, the base of Sankhya philosophy, which has content two central topics, namely Brahman and Atma. This is the topics of the Jnana, Brahman and Atma, that is explained in Upanishads and Vedanta Sutra. Jai Shri Jagannath Baladeva Srimad Subhadra Ki, Shri Gaur Nitai Ki, Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki, Shalagrama Shila Ji Ki, Kurma Deva Ki. Very nice. Such jnani knowledge has impersonal liberation as its ultimate end. Generally, for immature practice, yes, for immature yogi, the Upanishads and Vedanta Sutra, what is the goal? What's the end in these tests? Impersonal liberation, yes, the Brahmajyoti. As Prabhupada lays out an eloquent definition of such a concept in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, verse 13, Prabhupada's definition about jnana. Jnana, quote, jnana means ordinary knowledge or any branch of knowledge. This knowledge develops up to the knowledge of impersonal Brahman. Above this, when it is partially mixed with devotion, such knowledge develops of knowledge of Paramatma or the all-pervading Godhead. All these topics are developing, was working very nice in Bhagavad Gita. This is more confidential, yes? Remember the chapter 9, yes? Raja Vijay Raja Guhyam, the knowledge more confidential. But when such knowledge is turned into pure devotional service and the confidential part of transcendental knowledge is attained, it is called the most confidential knowledge. Close quote. That most confidential knowledge, the great secret which even the Vedas are unaware of, may be understood as Vijnana or mature spiritual knowledge or Bhakti Yoga, which is the culmination and completion of Jnana or Jnana in its most mature and complete form. And Vijnana would be direct knowledge, Sambandha, about the names, pastimes, qualities and form of Sri Krishna. What means Vijnana? Vijnana is knowledge about name, form, qualities and pastime. Guna, Rupa, Nama and Lila. The directly knowledge about Krishna. Jnana, when well guided by a bona fide spiritual master, what means devotee of Krishna, culminates in Vijnana. Yes, this is the yoga ladder. Yes, this natural way. This quote Srila Prabhupada about Vijnana, Canto 10, Chapter 2, Verse 35. Vijnana means transcendental knowledge of the Supreme Personality. Vijnana is also experienced knowledge. Transcendental knowledge has to be accepted by the descending process of the disciplic succession as Brahma presents the knowledge of Krishna in the Brahma Samhita. Brahma Samhita is a great example of Vijnana because this is applied knowledge. Yes, Brahma Samhita is the deep realization of Lord Brahma from Krishna, the Krishna topic. Brahma Samhita is Vijnana as realized by Brahma's transcendental experience, and in that way he presents the form and the pastimes of Krishna in the transcendent abode. Close quote. Along the same line, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur agrees when they translate the verse 2 of chapter 7 of the Gita. Gyanam teham sa vijnana midam vakshami ashishataha yad gyatva neha bhuyo anyaj gyatavyan avashishate. Yes, remember this famous verse of chapter 7, Bhagavad Gita, verse 2. Gyanam teham sa vijnana. How Prabhupada translated Jnana and Vijnana? Prabhupada translated Jnana like the phenomenal knowledge, yes, knowledge about matter, and Vijnana like numerous. Yes, this is a Greek term. Yes, the Greek philosopher Plato used these terms, phenomenon and noumenon. Yes, Kant used also these terms, but with another definition, not good. And Prabhupada translated like Vijnana, spiritual knowledge, and Jnana like material knowledge, because when you understand matter, you understand the 24 elements plus Kala, according to Kapiladeva, and spiritual soul. Yeah, spiritual soul, and happy make part of the Prakriti, because without the Purusha, without the Paramatma and the Jiva, what will be of Prakriti? Prakriti is unconsciousness, is death. The life on Prakriti is injected by Jiva and Paramatma. Look the translation of this verse from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. I will explain to you knowledge of my powers, of my energies, yes, my Shaktis, Jnana, along with knowledge of my sweetness. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur translated the word Vijnana like the Krishna sweetness. What is the Krishna sweetness? Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila. Knowing which nothing else remains to be known. In the first verse of Bhagavad Gita, in the first verse of chapter 9, in the first verse of the chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also points out the purport of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. I will teach you this bhakti, jnana, culminating in direct realization of me, vijnana sahitam, by which you will be freed from rebirth or freed from all obstacles of bhakti, ashubhat. Jnana vijnana sahitam ya gyatva mokshase ashubhat. First verse of chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita. And to conclude, His Holiness Shivarama Swami deliberates in his Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani, open quote from Shivarama Swami, since one cannot practice remembrance, smarana, artificially, one must have two prerequisites: purity of heart and suitable knowledge. Purity of heart makes the mind peaceful enough to enter those of Vrindavan. Knowledge of the Vrajavasis, pastimes, features, and qualities provides the subject matter in which to immerse the mind. Yes? Means jnana, the beginnings of knowledge real knowledge means knowledge of difference, matter and spirit, Purusha Prakriti. But when the knowledge stay mature, stay the cume, the most higher platform, what means knowledge? Jnana. Jnana means knowledge about the name, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila. Yes? The devotees are expert in those, the devotees in Vraja, the places in Vraja, the relationships with the Vrajavasis and Krishna. This is the mature knowledge of the Bhakta, the Krishna Bhakta. Yes, this is from Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani, chapter 12, Spontaneous Devotional Service in Practice, part 2. This is the end, okay? If what is fun? This is, if you want to have a comment or criticize or correction, my false ego will not accept the correction. Yeah, I know. Yes.
I wanted to ask about the topic you started the class with, where the Christians, they say there's a duality between good and evil. The first duality is knowledge and ignorance.
Yes.
Can you maybe elaborate a little bit on this? What do you mean?
Okay. Jnana and avidya. Avidya is the material disease, because the duality is a thing that have only material world. Here we have death and life. In spiritual world we have only. In material world we have distress and happiness. In spiritual world we have only. In this world we have jnana and avidya, knowledge and ignorance. In spiritual world you have only. Yes. Knowledge, jnana, is too much important because the spiritual soul is full of knowledge. Yes, Sat Chit, and happiness, Ananda. But because of the influence of material energy, especially rajas and tamas, this natural knowledge of the soul that are inside of our heart, in our consciousness, are covered. Yes? And because this, if you achieve knowledge, we can see all things. Yes? You become, again, you re-establish your consciousness. Yes? Because the light is the natural characteristic, natural feature of the soul. And with knowledge, with jnana, you can see the things. Without the knowledge, you are in the darkness. You can see anything in a darkness room or in a darkness cave. No, this is a Plato analogy. But if you go out, you go out of the cave. What do you have? Sun. That's light. Light means knowledge, and in knowledge you can see the things in real property. Yes, in your real establishment. The things are real. Are. Yeah, thank you so much. Because this, if you have a knowledge, your moral, your acting will be good, and you'll be good. You know the dharma, and you acting properly, and all things, all auspicious things coming. But if you don't have knowledge, are you in darkness? You're not acting properly, and the tendency of Rajatamas is go more deep, more deep, more deep, more in darkness. The structure of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita is established this. Do you remember? Krishna answered to Arjuna the question in verse 11 and verse 12 of second chapter. Yes? The verse 11, Krishna gave a slap on the face of Arjuna. Second verse 12, Krishna smashed the impersonal theory, yes, because we are individual person in past, in present, in the future. Krishna is smashing the theory of amalgama, yes, oneness. Yes, thank you. What Krishna explains from verse 13 to verse 30, Jnana, the difference between body and soul. What I am a spiritual soul. This is the first step of education. This is the first knowledge. What Krishna will teaching from verses 34, 38? What is karma? What is action? Moral. Because only if I have knowledge, I can do things in proper way. Only with knowledge, yes? If we don't have knowledge, we will do only stupid things, and we go. The problem of this Western society, the atheist society, is that they don't know that we are spiritual soul, and without knowledge, the senses, the mind are arrested to join, because I'm this body. Happiness came from this body, came from the senses. This is ignorance. Because the first step is knowledge. With the knowledge, we can progressive to real acting. And after you mix together jnana and karma, what is the result of this? Karma yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. Yes. Because the knowledge, I'm a spiritual soul, is too much important. When the devotees reply, yes, speak, I'm not this body, I'm this spiritual soul. This is so important phrase. This is so important phrase, because the BAB, the first lessons of religion, of knowledge, is this. I'm a spiritual soul, I'm not this body. From this, you can acting properly in the world, in our platform. But if you don't know that you're a spiritual soul, everything will be ruined and destroyed. Like a big mathematical exercise. Count? Equation, yes, thank you. Imagine a big mathematical equation. Yes? It's a very deep, very complicated. But if the basis of this calculate 2 by 2 is 5, what will happen in the end of the equation? Yes, because the first step is knowledge. I am a spiritual soul. And after this, your things is progress, like Lord Shiva explained here, yes? In this material world, there are different types of achievement, but of all of them, achievement of knowledge is considered to be the highest, because one can cross the ocean of essence only in the boat of knowledge. Of course, the knowledge of Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna explained 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is Vijnana. Knowledge is knowledge about Krishna. But this knowledge about Krishna begins in, I am a spiritual soul. I'm not this body. The second step, I'm a spiritual soul. What is the moral? What is the action of the spiritual soul? What did the spiritual soul do? This is more secret, more confidential. What spiritual soul do? The action, the moral, the activity of the soul is Bhakti Yoga. The worshipable, she loves